welcome to The Natural View. I'm Maggie Jacqua. I'm the content director of Whole Foods Magazine, and my co-host is Todd Pala of 24 Stories Marketing. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Maggie. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. We have a special guest today. We're excited to talk to Arun Natarajan. He's the president and co-founder of Avalon, and Arun is keenly focused on combating global vitamin D deficiency, which we all know from this year is just such a major issue. And he works with Veg D3, which is a vitamin D3, 100% non-GMO, plant origin. And so thanks to that ingredient, there's just a greater opportunity to help with vitamin D deficiency for a wider audience. So such an urgent need. You know, we're at this moment now where people are really more aware of what's in their supplements, what their supplements are made of. There's also this increased interest in plant-based, increased interest in non-GMO. And then, of course, all the health concerns of 2020 have just raised our awareness of how important vitamin D is for maintaining well-being. So we're going to touch on all of that. But first, I just want to kind of start at the beginning. So Arun, if you could tell us how you got on this path of really tackling vitamin D deficiency.
Yeah, no, thank you, Maggie, and good to meet you, Todd. Everything you just said, Maggie, is really what it is. So, you know, it really dates back to probably about 10, 12 years ago. And it all started with my wife actually had been diagnosed with severe vitamin D deficiency, and she has actually been vegan her whole life. And it was at that time, probably in the early to mid 2000s, that we suddenly noticed that there was absolutely no plant-based or a non-animal alternative to vitamin D3, and which was kind of interesting for us to note. That all of the D3 available at that time was from lanolin. And those of you who are aware of lanolin basically comes from sheep's wool or sheep's carcass, and certainly not something which is suitable for a vegan or a vegetarian diet. So that really got us thinking along that direction, which led us to partner with a couple of researchers with like-minded goals. And it was about 8 years of research and development, and eventually we came up with a vegan vitamin D3 product, and that's what we are. I mean, right now it's available, it's in the market, it's 100% cholecalciferol, it's chemically identical to the conventional animal-based D3, and it's a very good alternative for folks that don't want an animal-based product.
Is that what sets you apart from competitors, or is there any
Correct.
other thing about that form or the function of it that sets you apart?
It's the process of how we get the D3 from the algae is really what it is. But functionally, chemically, it performs exactly the same as the animal D3. It meets all the FCC codec requirements, and it is 100% cholecalciferol. And you know, we've also done some low-key clinical studies, and they've turned out to be really positive. We have really good stability data, which in some senses is even better than the lanolin-based D3. We advertise a shelf life of almost 2 years, but we've actually seen that it's good for up to 3 years. And we are into our 4th year of stability study, and it has shown very little degradation. So it's actually quite remarkable.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of science on D3. I mean, a lot has been coming out in recent years, and on Veg D3 specifically. So you touched a little bit on the stability. Can you give us some other highlights of some of the research that's been done?
Yeah, the research associated with D3. I mean, you know, there is so many papers, especially around the pandemic. If you all you have to do is Google it, but there is probably at this point in time hundreds of studies done in the last 1.5 years associated with the importance of immunity and how immunity is enhanced by the intake of vitamin D. But historically, the vitamin D deficiency has been a very serious issue among humans across the planet. I mean, this is probably well-known fact, but it is worth noting that the vitamin D3 is the only form of vitamin that is actually produced by the humans upon exposure to sunlight. And you might think, okay, so let's go sit in the sun and form our D3. But most of the time when we go out into the sun, we apply a suntan lotion and so on. And that actually ends up blocking the UV rays. And therefore, you don't actually form the D3, even if you sit for a whole day in the sun. And so the deficiency associated with, and then if you come to the northern parts, sort of like where we are living, I am living towards Minnesota and above, there isn't a lot of 4 to 6 months of the year people can't go out and stay out in the sun because of the cold weather. So it's a very big problem. And again, it's not me that has to say it now, but there's plenty of research available associated with the ill and harmful effects of vitamin D deficiency.
I just had that very experience with my doctor. I had some blood work done and I was vitamin D deficient. Correct. And I had that same conversation or same thoughts in my head. I'm like, but I'm outside all of the time. I mean, I'm pretty active. And she said, it's something that humans don't get enough of, at least in this day and age. So I think it's probably one of those issues that a lot of consumers may not think of at first because they tick it off like, well, I get enough sunlight. I think you're absolutely right that it's something that's a larger issue than many might consider. Speaking of consumers too, I wanted to ask you about the sustainability of it, because I'm thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but compared to the traditional animal sources, a Veg D3, there has to be some sustainability benefits. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, that's an excellent question. This algae is algae that we grow indoors in our research facility. We are partnered with a research facility in the UK, and we actually grow these in indoor ponds. It has no negative impact to the environment because we are not harvesting this and upsetting any kind of ecological systems or anything. This is grown indoors, and we can literally grow tons of these at any point in time. And so it is incredibly environmentally friendly. It does not involve any kind of ecological imbalance, and from the sustainability perspective, that ticks two major boxes. It is absolutely completely non-GMO, and we have the certification associated with it. We also have the Vegan Society certification associated with it, and our product it comes in three forms. Our starting material comes as a D3 in the form of a crystal, which is 100% cholic calciferol, which is in strength about 40 million IU per gram, which is quite strong. And so we actually dilute it to a 1 million IU per gram oil, and then subsequently to 100,000 IU per gram powder, which is what we sell as ingredients to the OEMs. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that the oil form and the powder form are also organic, and we have the USDA organic certification associated with it. So it's very sustainable, environmentally friendly, it's non-GMO, it's Vegan Society approved, and it's organic. So it's actually, we're quite proud of the product, and yeah.
Yeah, that's checking a lot of positive boxes right there.
Correct.
You were talking about some of the forms, so maybe we can just talk a little bit about the opportunities for formulators in terms of bringing products with Veg D3 to the market.
Yeah, there's obviously the immediate application is in the nutraceutical space. So you can literally make tablets or capsules of vegan vitamin D3 of any desired strength, anywhere from 100 IU to up to 2,000, 5,000 IU, as the case may be. And we have the Veg D3 incorporated in immunity shots. We have Veg D3 incorporated in powder form, in protein powders. So if you have, that's actually a pretty big space, and it's a good question because there are situations where people are lactose intolerant and they are unable to take whey protein that comes from dairy. And now, as you are aware, especially from being a part of the Whole Foods arena, there's an entire variety of plant-based proteins that are now available. And how do you get vitamin D into a plant-based protein powder and still call it vegan? Well, now you have Veg D3 that can go into that, and you got so there's that one big application space. So it really, there's no end to where, I mean, we have customers that have incorporated the vegan, our Veg D3 into cooking oil, sunflower oil. We have folks that have incorporated into flour, wheat for making bread and things like that. And we have a couple of customers who are exploring the possibility of using Veg D3 for animal pet products, for dog food and cat food. So it's really anywhere you can think of using vitamin D, Veg D3 would fit directly. It'll be a 1:1 replacement. Even if somebody were to say, okay, I don't want to use animal-based D3 that I'm using today in my product, you can literally take that animal D3 out and substitute it 1:1 with vegan vitamin D3, and it'll work.
Excellent. So, obviously, as we've seen, there's been this big interest in D3, especially in the last year. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how your product has performed over this last year.
Yeah, it's performed quite well. I would say that the interest has been very, very good across North America, but also around the world in Europe and Asia. It's really it is by no means is it going to replace the animal D3 market by any chance, because there is a cost associated with, the animal version is cheaper compared to the plant-based version, and that's literally because of the processes that are involved in getting the D3 out of the plant. But that said, the exposure has been great, and the reception to Veg D3 has been phenomenal. The testament to that is I'm talking to you guys in Whole Foods magazine.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up here, I'm wondering, is there anything else, new developments coming up, anything that we should be looking at for the future of Veg D3, something around the corner?
We are constantly working to see what else we can do to keep advancing. And really, at this point in time, the Veg D3 crystal is near perfect. It's 100% cholecalciferol. And what we are planning in the near future, right now, we make our products overseas. It comes from the UK. And I am working with a couple of people within the US to manufacture Veg D3 in the US. And I'm quite excited about that because it'll have the made in the USA label associated with it, which will be quite exciting. And that's very actively in the development. And I hope that in the next 3 to 6 months, we'll have Veg D3 with made in the USA label attached to it. But outside of that, the product itself is very good. I mean, like I said previously, I mean, as Vegan Society, non-GMO, organic, it's 100% cholecalciferol, it's algal based, therefore it's 100% plant-based. I mean, it's really, we've spent a lot of time, Todd. It wasn't an overnight type of a situation. It took 8 to 10 years for us to come up with this. So,
well, I love the fact that this is all born from a personal story, a personal need.
Yes.
And,
yes,
so obviously there's a lot of heart and soul that went into
Correct.
it. And also, as far as future developments go, I mean, just in our conversation, you're knocking on some pretty huge categories here, right? I mean,
right.
The pet market's huge. Sports nutrition, we all know there's tremendous opportunity there, among others. So it's just exciting to see this story come to fruition.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. I agree with you. We are very excited about it ourselves.
Good.
Excellent. Well, I know people who want more information, there's information on AIDP's website, and also on your website, I know you link to a lot of studies. I read on there today about vertigo, which I have battled myself. So I was like, okay, we need to learn more about this. So there's tons more to learn. As you noted, so much research coming out that we continue to present in Whole Foods Magazine, so people can stay on top of the D3 story. And we look forward to hearing more about the manufacturing in the US and the Made in the USA as that comes to pass in the future. So keep us posted. We want to know more.
Perfect. No, I would love to do that. Thank you. Thanks for the chat, and I look forward to all the great things that are about to come around the corner here.
Us too. Thanks, Arun. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, Todd. Excellent. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you.